Dave Campos is up next, and he is running for PUD Commissioner. Welcome, Dave.
Thank you guys for having me tonight. I do have a lot of numbers and stuff in here, so excuse the notes. Dave Campos, got my name on some hay bales out here by Battleground Lake, which I'm really proud of that photo for some reason. But we'll go ahead and, a little bit about me. It's on my website, www.votecampos.com. The real thing I want to highlight is I do have an undergraduate and graduate degree in the finance arena. Spent a lot of time doing accounting. I have enough coursework to sit for the CPA, and that's vital for this gig. The commissioner's job primarily is to manage your budget of your utility. I'm definitely qualified for that role. Right now, I'm a commercial loan officer at one of Clark County's largest member-owned financial institutions. I've spent the last almost 10 years doing this. And in doing that, I've always learned to track where dollars come from. So we're going to go for a little bit of a ride here through how much even our local utility is impacted by worldwide events. Go next one. So before we get started, this is something I feel like that sets me apart from the other 7 candidates, or the other 6 candidates in my race. Is I've committed from the get-go to donate 20% of what I make from this job to not-for-profits in Clark County. And I won't utilize the utilities health benefit package that every board member, every commissioner has full medical as well as an $1,800 a month stipend. It's 2 meetings a month on Tuesday mornings at 9 a.m. My priorities, I'm a board member of the Building Industry Association of Clark County. I understand how construction jobs help our county. If you're not directly impacted by them, your neighbor, your son, your daughter, somebody you know is impacted in this industry, by that industry. And we all know that it's rough. Person that comes in to build a $200,000 house pays the same water and electricity hookups as somebody that's building a $500,000 house. There's no scalability like similar that you would see at the county. Secondly, I want to review existing and increase cost-effective underlying conservation and sustainability initiatives and increase transparency. Meetings are on Tuesday mornings at 9 a.m. I work, it's difficult to get to those. It's difficult for a lot of people to get to an event like that on a Tuesday at 9 a.m. So I'd like to see those move to the evening. Next, here's some photo that says 1,000 words. So I had a power line on my property, and I contacted utilities several times about this, and they would say, we're going to send somebody out to fix it, we're going to send somebody out to fix it. Well, it kind of fixed itself. We had a branch fall across the line, and in the middle of the night, you can see basically there's my laundry room window, there's the front of the house, and then there's the glass trail that left across my yard. A 12,000 volt line was 10 feet from my front door. They, after ongoing discussions, I told them it was probably time to get it away from my house. They told me for $70,000 we could achieve that. And, so it actually, I didn't even know we had a board of commissioners. I really didn't understand the structure of the utility prior to that. And
Trespassing.
well, they had it right away. I mean, you know, and I did buy the house with it there, but they weren't maintaining their system. And in doing so, I emailed the commissioners. I had a letter from the fire chief in Hopkinton. I mean, we had a fair amount of, I mean, this is from 2 in the morning. And it took, I never received a response. They dug their feet in the sand, and it took Joe Zarelli's office and allowed me to get any resolution on it. All right, so we'll keep moving, but that's what got me here. That's what got the ball rolling. It's not an axe to grind, but it definitely got the ball rolling. I really want to.
Did they fix it without you spending $10,000?
That's still too much for their power.
All right, so we do have some things that are state and federally mandated, like I-937, that force us to buy green energy. Now this is where it's going to get fun on the next slide. 60% of our power is hydro. It's not renewable under I-937. I'm not sure who puts the water there, but it's not renewable. Anyways, so I understand finances, like I said, and I can bring some practical private sector financial experience to this utility. We'll go to the next slide. This is a fun one. So here's a top corner is total U.S. electricity generation. We're very, burning coal, burning gas, and nuclear is primarily our income generating. Look to the next one over. Blue is hydro, green is non-hydro. Well, get all the way to the far side and you can see where wind is spiking. And it's just gone parabolic. Well, we can think of other things in the past 10 or 15 years when they start standing end over end on end over end on annual increases. What happens? Well, we're funding this with federal money. We spent $35 billion in federal loans in 2011 for wind farms. But we'll get to the next one. We'll keep going here. We'll keep them moving fast. All right, so right now we have I-937. 17 out of the 62 utilities in our state have to comply with I-937. Clark Public Utilities is compliant because they have a negative electricity load. So over the last 5 years, we've seen the customers have used 2.5% less power. Okay, so we purchased 4.6% of the total utilities revenues from the Combine Hills generation facility out in Umatilla. Combine Hills is owned by Eurus Energy. Eurus Energy is owned by Tokyo Electric and Toyota Toshido Corporation. Has anybody ever heard of the Bank Dexia? No? This whole Greece thing last fall? It was the mega bank that was bailed out by Belgium and France. They funded this program. So that, our power comes through, we are connected to the world stage. Anyway, so the utility does have some ways it can sidestep the requirement to buy 9% by 2015 of our total energy requirement from green. And they're doing a good job of it. And I really would love to see just renewable or hydropower be added to this and we can just get over with the silliness because we have renewable energy at our back door. Then we'll get to the next one. So right now, abandoned wind farms. So you guys can read that on your own, but I'm going to start talking about the bottom right corner. Wind subsidies per unit of production, $23, and we go all the way down, wind, solar, and refined coal. Refined coal, they're treating it to take the moisture and the mercury out of it. And the argument might be, okay, Dave, well, we need to subsidize things to get the technology up to snuff. All right, I'll play with it. Next slide. In 1983, a study by Booz Allen and Hamilton concluded that the private sector can be expected to develop and improve solar and wind technologies which can become competitive and self-supporting on a national level by the end of the decade, from 1983, if assisted by tax credits and augmented by federally sponsored R&D. Currently, there's 14,000 abandoned windmills, wind turbines. And here's a slug of them that are in Hawaii, one before in Southern California. They're actually having to pin these things up because they're just sitting there not producing electricity and killing birds. All right, and then next. The question is, really, do we need help? We're using less power or we're choking our economy. I'm not quite sure what this is telling us. But since 1993, the average home size has increased from almost 200 square feet and we're using 20% less energy. What's the difference? 85% of new homes constructed are built with a heat pump. The central AC, central heat, is far more efficient than electric heat, baseboard heat, ceiling heat, all these other types. Why don't we focus on things we can improve? We know we have technology that works. We know how to implement it, and we know where to implement it. So that's really my frustration with stepping out into wind. And then there's once again another abandoned wind farm. And then last one. All right, so I need a great showing in the primary, not a good showing. I have 7 people in my race. If I'm on your ballot, there's a good chance your neighbor is too. So maybe knock on their door and say I'm an all right guy if you think so. I have a web presence. I'm running a mini campaign. I'm doing a lot of this with personal resources. Some local small businesses have really been generous. You can see them on my website. But like I said, I really need all the help I can get. So thank you very much.
The United States Bill of Rights,
Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion,
or abridging the freedom of speech,
the right of the people to keep and bear arms.
In all
shall
of human
not be
history,
infringed.
it is found that freedom is the exception, not the norm. The pillars of the American experiment and of the resultant liberty have been a civically moral, educated, and active people. We, the people of Vancouver, Washington's mission is to encourage one another, our families, and our communities in these pursuits, thus reasserting civic ownership of our cities, state, and nation.